I'm going to quickly touch upon some of the changes that are coming to the PE Power, and this is mostly for folks who are in that pipeline of taking the FE Electrical and Computer exam, and they've been hearing about some modifications happening to the PE Power exam, or those who are planning to start the PE Power exam preparation. October 1st, 2025 is the day when they are going to make some modifications. I have done multiple YouTube videos, multiple LinkedIn posts, answered dozens of questions that I've received from students, but I still find that up until the day October 1st, I'll just keep on reminding and refreshing and, addressing this question. I'll just take a couple of minutes. The modification that is coming about on 1st of October to the PE Power exam is not as significant as the previous modification that happened on December 1st, 2020. That was a seismic change when the exam basically went from an open book exam where you could bring in all the reference material and literally people used to bring in cartons, right? I myself brought in a whole luggage suitcase filled with books and whatnot. The exam was not easy back then either. So now they are taking away some of the topics that have been in the exam specification and adding a couple of topics. I would say 95% of the exam is still the same in terms of the scope and coverage. The reference handbook that has been released that will take effect 1st of October 2025 is 95% still the same. The significant changes that they've gone from 2017 NEC to 2020 NEC. I personally think they should have gone to 2023 NEC, which is even more recent. And those of you who work with codes and standards, you know that when you go from one edition to another edition, the percentage change between 2020 and 2023 or 2017 and 2020 is less than 1% in terms of the number of pages, number of code sections that get impacted. Okay, it's not a quantum leap. It's always very minuscule, incremental. Sometimes there are minor typos or vaguenesses in the code. So nothing really significantly changes over here. The reference handbook has not changed. There were some omissions in the reference handbook, previous reference handbook, such as there was no mention for CTs, there was no mention for protection, there was no mention for surge protection, and it's still the same case. Okay. A minor couple of corrections over here in terms of voltage regulation formula. They've taken away engineering economics reliability, which I'll discuss shortly, and added a couple of new items. So what has been removed? NGCon, which was sort of being carried over from FE electrical into PE power, no longer exists. Okay. Reliability engineering no longer exists. So the focus is more on power systems rather than some of the general topics. So this is easy. In my PE Power program right now, because I know a lot of students are still taking the exam up until 30th of September 2025, I've gone through these transitions multiple times. What I'm doing is very strategically identifying topics that have been removed and adding the topics clearly that have been added. In terms of the topics that have been added, this is also fairly minor. Under ladder logic, they've included one pager, literally from FE Electrical and Computer Reference Handbook, that contains AND gate, OR gate, NOR gate, a little bit of details about Boolean logic, De Morgan's law. Now, this is in the context of ladder logic PLC. Those of you who have background in control systems, you exactly know what I'm talking about. And in my PE Power program, I actually not only stop at Boolean logic, I actually go through motor schematics, MV motor schematics, LV motor schematics, permissives, interlocks, and everything. So it's already at level 3. So this is already accounted for. In terms of electrical energy storage, we already discussed the batteries in a lot of depth. The ultra capacitors are a new topic for which the new content has been created. And in terms of alternative power generation, PV systems, NEC using as a reference, I go in a lot of detail already in my program, and wind is the new topic. So essentially these changes are in step with the industrial trend towards renewable. Some of the highest paying jobs at the moment in electrical engineering exist directly or indirectly in the renewable space. It is by far the fastest growing segment of electrical engineering. And I have seen mechanical engineers basically pivot to renewable just because of the amount of opportunities that exist. And these are welcome changes because this brings the exam specification, the P-Power exam spec, more and more in line with the reference handbook, with the new industrial changes. If you're new to this channel, please consider subscribing. On a weekly basis, I'm creating content for FE electrical and P-Power exam preparation. I also discuss topics related to electrical engineering with a focus on power systems engineering. If you'd like to learn more about my FE electrical and PE power exam preparation programs, please visit my website, StudyforFE.com.